We, as gamers, determine what games are popular. By gathering around a table together, by sharing our creativity and our time, we decide which games live and which games die. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. How a game dies. Welcome to Corner Case. You're in the hobby corner. I'm your host, your ride or die, your best friend, Deck. And if you have been playing tabletop war games for any significant amount of time, you have probably had this experience before. The experience of a group falling apart, the experience of a game dying. And that's what I'd like to request from you today, is if you have had that experience, please share it in the comments with us. I think as a group, we don't discuss this often enough. And that's that these small groups of friends that we play games with are really, really fragile. They can fall apart almost overnight. And when that happens, it's so devastating because you might have invested so much time and money buying this army, building and painting this army, learning the game, optimizing your playstyle, going to tournaments with your friends. And maybe you weren't ready for that to end, but because the group fell apart, it did end. And then it's tough for you because you don't get to play that anymore. So why does this happen? How can we avoid it? Maybe we won't find a solution today, but we'll try, and let's talk about it. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I think the topic of today's video really should be that we should empathize with each other more. I've talked on the channel before about how I used to play a lot of Malifaux 2E, and those were the good times in my memory. So, X-Wing had just released their second edition. It was starting to wane in popularity, and I began playing Malifaux second edition following some of my X-Wing friends. Now, it wasn't as popular. There weren't as many. I couldn't just go to any store on any night, like I've talked about before, to play Malifaux, but I was getting consistently 2 nights a week of gaming, and that was pretty sweet. I would play with people in my local area, in the Peninsula area, and then I also had a group that was in the East Bay area, and we would play together Tuesdays in the Peninsula and Fridays on East Bay if I could afford it. Now, back then, the community wasn't as vibrant as X-Wing, but it was good. We were probably having 1 tournament a month, sometimes 2. And the tournaments at the East Bay place were probably upwards of 16 people per showing. And that's really, really good for a non-peak X-Wing game tournament. We would play those tournaments about once a month at the East Bay place, organized by East Bay TO. Now, East Bay TO is putting in a lot of work, and personalities come in all kinds. So, I would sometimes hear complaints that people weren't getting along with East Bay TO, and I didn't really think anything of it. I thought it was just like normal people stuff. Especially at a game store, you can expect that the personalities are definitely all kinds. So I just thought it was that. I just thought it was all kinds of personalities kind of just bumping up against each other in a semi-competitive environment. And I didn't think much of it. I never had a problem with East Bay TO. I thought he and I had like a pretty good relationship, actually. Back then, I was providing prize support as much as I could because it was fun for me to create that. But, maybe it wasn't so small of a thing in retrospect. I thought it was small, but suddenly the tournament stopped happening, and suddenly people stopped meeting, and suddenly people stopped playing that game. And even though I was fully invested in Malifaux, and I still am to this day, my local group, for the most part, stopped playing over the course of 3 months very suddenly because of some altercation or disagreement within the group, somehow involving East Bay TO. And, I want to be fair. Anything that goes down with people, it's never 100% any one person's fault. I have to assume that there were a number of parties involved and that all of them take some equal amount of fault. I never exactly understood why that happened, and that also took a lot out of me too, just not understanding why that happened. And all of a sudden, this game that I was super invested in, these friends that I liked seeing all the time, we went to LVO one year to play Malifaux, and that was really fun. All of that wasn't going to happen anymore, and I couldn't understand why. But now, in retrospect, I know that the only thing that I could have done better in that situation is maybe have been like a better listener, not only to East Bay TO, maybe to the people around me. It made me aware that these gaming communities are super, super fragile, and we have to take care of each other more. We have to be more empathetic to each other if we really like doing what we're doing. I think in a game store environment, in a gaming environment, a lot of arguments and debates happen, and I'm a part of it. I love going to the game store and just getting into a debate with someone for fun. And disagreeing is one thing, but once you start not empathizing with each other so much that you can't even stand to see each other anymore, or it becomes unpleasant to see one another, that affects not just a few people, that affects everyone in the group. So I think that's really what I wanted to talk to you about today, is just let's work on being more empathetic to each other so that we can have more fun, be more creative together, and keep playing these games that we love. So recognize the people who are putting in the extra effort. Those people who aren't getting paid any extra, but they're organizing the group to play every Friday. Those guys and gals who organize the narrative events on Friday, who tell us which missions we're going to play, who mod the Discord for us. All these people that we take for granted, they make the Google Docs for us so that we can input our army list for our crusade games. They nag us when we don't fill out our crusades on time. All of this is so much extra work, and they just do it so that they can see all of us happy playing this game. I know that not everyone is perfect, and sometimes you will get into altercations or disagreements with these people. But at the end of the day, I think we all can agree that we love doing this hobby, and these people who do all that extra work are hypercritical to making all of this work. So that's the topic of my video today, is let's just show appreciation when we can for those people who are willing to do extra so that we can all have fun. At least for me, I think I speak on behalf of everybody. To all you TOs, thank you. And game organizers, thank you. Thank you so much. DMs, thank you. I hope you guys had a good time with me in the Hobby Corner today. I'm your host, your best friend, your lover on the side, Deck. If you like the content, please like and subscribe to the channel. I am always desperate. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next time.
Please like and subscribe. We've been through enough.